Hello guys, and Moscow has finally realized they have a lot of problems with the Ukrainian drones traveling unstoppable to various military facilities even inside the capital of the Russian Federation. And right now they are trying to rearrange the system of the air defense around Moscow, taking these systems away from other important military sites all over the Russian Federation. And here we come to one of the most important conclusions of the 21st century war, that the size of the country actually plays against it. And we all know, including Putin, that these air defense systems around Moscow won't be able to protect it, just as they failed to protect more than 40% of their oil refineries. And more problems in the Russian oil refining sphere. LUKOIL, after Ukrainian drone sanction and US new sanctions, is prepared to sell its foreign assets, understanding the collapse of their once very rich company has already started, same as for Gazprom and Rosneft, and same as for the Russian Federation. So let's discuss what is happening with Moscow, around Moscow, and in dozens of the Russian regions now visited by the Ukrainian drones on a daily basis, as this war brought back to Russia destroys this country from inside. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin in The Hague and Russia defeated, subscribe, I'm sure we'll discuss that on the channel sometime really soon, and please share these videos to spread the truth. That's important. And let's begin with the last night, during which hundreds of the Ukrainian drones traveled deep inside the Russian Federation to do the job. And you all know that task is to demilitarize Russia and thus protect a lot of innocent lives, not just in Ukraine, but in countries that Russia potentially considers as a place to invade. With 1 million violent soldiers, Putin is not prepared to end the war. He wants to continue them, not just in Ukraine, but in some NATO countries. The intelligence of Britain, of Germany prove that. But let's concentrate on the problems that will actually stop Russia from invading anything and lead to more problems inside their collapsing empire. So last night, dozens of Russian regions were visited by Ukrainian drones, and I've actually made a list because we love the geography lessons. And here we have, apart from Moscow, the capital, Bryansk, Kaluga, Tula, Kursk, Oryol, Rostov, Voronezh, Orenburg, Tambov, Belgorod, Lipetsk, Samara were visited by the Ukrainian drones. Russians are lucky, we only target legitimate sites like military arsenals, oil refineries, military air bases, thus protecting the world from the Russian weapons. But this is a lot, and this is a great change in comparison to what we were like back in 2022. So Putin definitely failed with his plan to demilitarize Ukraine when he actually militarized us more than ever. But perhaps he is most worried about Moscow, the capital of the Russian Federation, and its citizens. For Putin, the real citizens of Russia are only those who live in Moscow, maybe St. Petersburg. That is a very evil reality that many inside Russia have accepted long ago. And this quality of life in Moscow and, let's say, in Tula or Oryol, Orenburg, Magadan is tremendously different. So right now they are doing everything to protect Moscow. They understand it can be reached with Ukrainian drones, and there are lots of military targets all around the Russian capital, and they are trying to prevent these strikes that are actually already happening. And what they do, they relocate the systems of the air defense like S-300, S-400, and they put them in a circle around the Russian capital with modern satellite images. You can observe this process literally online, but there are tons of photos and videos from the Russian capital where people are surprised to see these mobile anti-drone groups. which is a reality of Ukraine after the beginning of the full-scale invasion, but now is also the reality of Russia after their failed blitzkrieg and the start of the special military operation inside Russia by the Ukrainian armed forces. Thumbs up for that and subscribe to witness the collapse of the Putin's regime together. Push notification button, this makes me super excited. Anyway, there are photos of Russian soldiers in this mobile group standing with guns trying to control the skies of Moscow. That was totally safe before Putin decided he can invade Ukraine. But this actually triggered the collapse of the Russian Federation. Please don't be afraid of that. That is a totally natural process. So they are building this air defense around the capital of the Russian Federation, taking away these systems from other places like oil refineries, military plants, drone production plants, and various arsenals, which is good because our task is to demilitarize them. And with all the air defense around the Kremlin and Putin's bunkers, it is actually way easier. They don't have a lot of resources to invest in their defense. They don't have enough of money to pay their soldiers now. That is a great problem for Putin because he does not want to stop the war. He does not know how to stop this war. There is no such plan. And the end of this war is possible with the defeat of Russia and Putin in The Hague. Trust me, that's the best and most realistic option. And the process to achieve it has already started. So LUKOIL is in great trouble, one of many Russian companies, one associated with the Russian wealth, now on the actually not on the brink of the collapse, but in the process of collapse after the Ukrainian drone sanctions that destroyed more than 40% of Russian oil refining industry. After the new US sanctions targeting Rosneft and LUKOIL, they decided they cannot pretend everything is okay and started selling their foreign assets, maybe wanting to get some money or trying to sell it still when they can. And it's funny to observe how Putin, how his envoy Dmitriev pretend that they don't care about sanctions, but they literally rush to the United States. They persuade Orban to speak with Trump. They do everything they can to prevent these sanctions, and LUKOIL reacts in a predictable way by selling their foreign assets. People, please understand, Russia can and will be defeated. This process has already started, and our task is just to be prepared and to control this process so that it won't be harmful for our countries. But the beginning of the collapse of the Russian Federation was triggered by Putin's failed blitzkrieg. And perhaps his second greatest mistake was not to negotiate seriously with the White House after Trump was re-elected, because these offers that were given to Putin were very wrong from the Ukrainian point of view, but very good for the already collapsing Russian economy. But Putin overplayed himself. He is totally out of reality. This is actually what led to his attack on Ukraine, to his full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a totally unrealistic understanding of the situation. And this is what made him want to continue this war until Russia is totally destroyed. And the process has already started, because even Russian imperialists, people who inspired this war, people who actually pushed Putin to begin this war, are now begging him to stop, but he does not have a plan how to end this war. He does not know what to do with 1 million violent Russian soldiers that for the first time in their life got some access to money. He does not have enough air defense systems. That's why he needs to relocate them and put them around Moscow. But I wonder how will people from other regions of the Russian Federation feel when, for example, various military facilities or oil refineries under constant attacks in their regions. They experience air raid sirens, they hear detonations, and their air defense is taken to protect Putin and Dmitriev. This is the beginning of their end, and to witness it together, subscribe and share this video. Subscribe to my Anna Danilchuk channel and other social media platforms, the links to which you will find in the description of this video. Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Discord, and X, and I share more of this everyday Ukrainian Kyiv life there. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film and speak more about Ukraine. That's a privilege and an honor. Check our merch shop, the link in the description too, where we've got lots of really good items that turn you into the ambassadors of Ukraine, helping us remind the world about our fight and the need to defeat Russia and enjoy this defeat, because justice must be served, and justice is important for any human being in any part of this world. Thank you once again, and united we stand. Slava Ukraini!